Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. Okay folks, it is time to celebrate. We are now at the episode 1 novelization and I am so happy. Let's do this. I got my party shades on and they change and they do this and they do that and it's a party in here. Oh yeah, looking nice in my glasses. This is getting a little annoying. I'm kind of getting sick. Feels like I'm watching Baloney's Clone Wars again. Ugh. All right, let me take these off. Anyway, folks, yes, it is time to talk about the novelization to episode 1. Written by Terry Brooks, this book came out just a few weeks before the actual movie. Some people bought it and read it right away. Now, of course, I was one of those people who bought it right away and I just let it sit on my shelf and watch the movie first. Yeah, I was dying to know what happened and that book was going to give me all the knowledge of what happened, but I wanted to be a little bit surprised for the movie, so I waited until then. Now, what did I think about this book when it came out? Of course I was excited. Everyone was excited. You know, that Star Wars was just rampant back then. Episode 1 was just really getting a huge push everywhere. It was everywhere in the media. Like I'm sure Episode 7 will be come December, right? It's going to be just a circus of Episode 7 stuff. But for Episode 1, it was real big. They came out with 4 alternate covers. I actually bought the Queen Amidala cover because I got tricked into a rumor that everyone was telling me that Queen Amidala's cover is short printed, so that's going to be the rare one to get, so if you find it, get it. And I was like, oh, there it is, and I got it. No, that was just a lie. They made plenty of copies of every single one. Now, this book is a great read. Of course, it includes stuff that is not in the movie. Terry Brooks actually said that it was a great honor. It's one of his best accomplishments. He's so proud of this book, and still is today because he was a big fan. As some of you know, Terry Brooks is a big author in the fantasy world. I think he does a great job transitioning into the Star Wars world. Now, he had a lot of help from one guy. What was his name? Oh, George Lucas. I thought George Lucas didn't care about the books. Again, here he is caring about the books so much that he had a conversation with Terry Brooks about not just the transcript of Episode 1. Terry Brooks didn't get to see the film necessarily. He just got to see the transcript. Now, things change from the transcript to the movie, which is why some of the dialogue is off. But that doesn't bother me as a whole. That's how books have to be written. They have to be written close to a year in advance before the movie comes out. So the movie may not be completely filmed or done by then. But George sat with him and gave him a history of the Jedi and the Sith, what things were like 1,000 years before the Rule of Two. Talked about Darth Bane. Talked about a lot of the Tales of the Jedi stuff. See, George was a big fan of the comic books, and he transitioned that knowledge down to Terry Brooks, who included a lot of that stuff. In fact, Darth Bane is mentioned in the Episode 1 novelization. Now, it's funny that George's ideas got put down in here, and they kind of became expanded universe content within the novelization. EU content that now Disney says is not canon anymore. Isn't that crazy? Ideas that George Lucas suggested that Terry Brooks put in there are now non-canon. Remember, this book, Episode 1, the official novelization of the movie, is a quasi-canon status. Remember, only certain things that pertain to the movie. If it pertains to the movie, that's canon. If it has nothing to do with the actual movie, that's non-canon. So I guess all the deleted scenes that they mention in the book are non-canon. All the extra scenes they have in it. Yes, there are extra scenes in it too. You get to see a lot more about Anakin, which I love. It talks about Anakin's pod race, a prior pod race to the movie where he actually crashes it, kind of foreshadowing the event later on where he tells them, yeah, I don't think I finished a race yet. I love that. And then there's other things just explaining about who Anakin is and what he is like. A little bit more character development than what we saw in the film. And yes, I think this book is better than the film. I know some of you will disagree with me, and that's fine. You don't have to agree on this. But this book shows so much more. That's why if you do not like episode 1, Matt, I didn't like episode 1, I didn't like the prequels, I don't want to read any prequel books, I highly encourage you to read episode 1, the novelization, because to me it's a lot better. There's better dialogue in it, and of course it's not poorly directed like I think the movie was. This one is all good stuff. If you actually read this book, you may want to go back and watch episode 1 and go, wow, was it really that good? One of the questions that a lot of people have is that in the actual novelization, Qui-Gon Jinn is mentioned as having a master say about him that that was the best student he ever trained in over 400 years. Wait a minute. Didn't Qui-Gon get trained by Count Dooku? That was who it was later revealed was his master. Well, obviously they're referring to Yoda. Now, do I have a problem with them indicating Yoda but then switching to Count Dooku? No, because they did that for the movies, right? In the original trilogy, Obi-Wan made it sound like Yoda was his Jedi master, right? The Jedi that trained me. However, in the prequels we find out it was Qui-Gon. Yoda trained everyone when they were kids, so this is just another reference, and this is how Pablo Delgado explains it in his book. It's just another reference to Yoda training everyone and really having a high opinion of Qui-Gon. So overall, should you read this book? A lot of people don't want to read the novelization to a movie because they'd rather watch the movie. Why read the book? Well, to let you know, I think you're shortchanging yourself here, because Terry Brooks does a great job, as I've said, and this book is worth your time. Even though it is a novelization of the movie, you can do both. Read the book. You'll actually benefit from it. All right, folks, that's all the time we have. I will see you next week with another video. Pretty pictures, pretty lights. It's like you're mesmerized at the screen. Coolest of the cools right here. Do you think Baloney would like these glasses? He likes things when they move.